Hello again, YouTube family. Okay, this is what we got going on today. Got called in on this vehicle here. It's a 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Complaint is that the transmission indicator is showing up just like so. No park reverse neutral drive. Vehicle does start and run. However, going into the scan data here, we'll see first, using the YTech, by the way, this is the Chrysler factory tool. Not that I need it, but just makes it a little bit easier for me to get the network topology out. All of our modules, everybody that's actually talking in here online, even ones that we don't know what they are, like we can look up PTS. What's a PTS? Parktronic system. That's going to be our backup cameras. ORC, occupant restraint controllers. Makes it a little bit easier when you get in the first lay of the land. One thing that we see here, anything at all that's in yellow has a code. They give you a little legend that's over here so we can see what's there and what's not there. Up here right now we have ABS is there, but it has a code in it. Our SCM, that is not, it has no codes in it whatsoever, and we're looking okay there. Our TCM though is in red. He's a non-responsive. So the very first thing I want to do here is get an idea though. TCM, let's try to find out where he is, what he does, and whether or not it's going to be relative to the actual problem with this car, which I'm 95% sure that it is, and I'm sure you're also sitting there and staring at the screen saying, yep, that's it, there's your problem. But we got to find out why. So let's take a look. Okay, just pulling up all data here. My preference always, when I don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into, is to take a quick look here and actually do a little bit of investigation as to what the system actually does. So we're going to come in here, I'm going to look at our actual transmission control system and see what we have. Sorry about that, I had to make a quick stop there. I needed to move my vehicle. Okay, so we're in here now and we're actually looking into our transmission control systems. I want to take a look here and see control module AT. This is going to give me what our transmission control module does, and we're going to go right into description and operation. At first glance here, that little picture that they're showing up there looks like a powertrain control module to me, but I could be wrong, but I do see 4 connectors on it. Transmission control module is a sub-module within the powertrain control module, and it's located on the right inner fender. Alright, good information to know right off the bat. If we know that it's part of the PCM, then when we start looking into wiring diagrams, we're going to know that we're looking at PCM and TCM together. Okay, had to move the car again. Let's do this. Let's go back out of here and let's get into our wiring diagrams for this system. No options here for wiring diagrams when you're in transmission control on this page. And we can back our way out and let's go right into diagrams. Go into our electrical diagrams. Any day. Okay, apparently it likes my finger more right now. And if we go into automatic transmission, we can pull up our wiring diagram index. I notice already that it starts from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no 3, there's no 2, there's no 1. Chrysler, when they do their wiring setups, AW31, transmission control, AW30, engine control. So I already know by looking at these numbers here that all it's going to show me is whatever is going to be transmission relative. When I come in here and I look at the first one they offer me here, 3104, I'm going to get a little picture of the transmission control relay, the assembly, the solenoid. All that's good. The very first thing I don't see there though is any powers or grounds. I see a power coming in here. Let's get this a little bit more easy to see. Okay, and I'll select this so we can highlight it. I do see a power coming in here from battery power all the time, and it comes down here up to the relay, and then it waits for the relay to close. If I look at the control side of the relay, here's my transmission relay out, or my transmission control relay control. That's not easy to say. Looks like we're going to be sending out something this way through our little coil and then coming back out again. And if I have to guess where that's going to go, it's going to go down to ground. And I can say that because I got a black wire here. It does have a splice right here. So it looks like this is going to end up going to ground. We can always go back, take a little better look, and sure enough, it does. Goes right here to a ground. So if this is our ground right here, we're going to be sending a power out to turn on this relay, and we don't know when, and we don't know at what point does it decide to do that, but we could always go back into description operation. But bottom line is, as of right now, I don't see a power feed going into a transmission control module. I'll go into 5. Nothing there. Relay transmission control in the PDC. So that's going to be for overdrive solenoid. Basically, this is what's going to be here to power up each one of our solenoids. And that's not going to be our worry either. Now, something to note again, Chrysler. They like to put their powers and grounds in the first couple of diagrams. If you don't see them here, you're in the wrong section. So if we back out of this, and we go into diagrams by number, and we go into 30, it says fuel and ignition system. It should say powertrain control. But we'll go into fuel and ignition, and right away our first diagram, like I was just saying, you're going to start seeing your power feeds coming in. Now this is our powertrain control module here. We have a fused ignition switch input that comes in and run and start. Comes in as a feed into the computer. Over here we have one from the TIPM, fused ignition switch output runner start. Coming here also to the computer. Let's get down a little bit further. Here's our ignition switch input. Now this is, it says ignition switch output start. So if that little thing wasn't there, let's see if we can move that out of the way. There we go. 1 is start, 2 is run, and then 3 over here is going to be our lock position when we're actually all, well, I guess we could say our steering lock. So that would actually be the first position, the second position, and then this one here would be actually in crank. So they're saying that we have basically a crank input that shows up here. Alright, fuse battery power all the time comes in here, C1 pin 29. The reason why we're doing this again is because we know that it's going to be part of the PCM. So our PCM has to have all of its powers and grounds in order to power up the TCM with inside it. Alright. So again, this is another one here that's relay controlled. Our ASD relay is essentially going to have a power coming down to it all the time, and then our PCM is going to actually ground this side and turn on the ASD relay. Those are controlled sides. We don't really care about those so much. The vehicle does run. If it didn't run, then I'd be looking at the ASD a little bit closer. And then from there on out, powers out to the coils and so on. No other power feeds that are going to come into that computer. We're already up to our diagram number 7 here. So I think we can stop right there. We're going to concentrate in on these first couple of ones. I'm going to verify our powers and grounds going into it. Hemi power. That's great. It has no transmission behind it. So let's find out here. Here's our powertrain control module. Generally speaking, on Chrysler products, what you'll have is 3 of these connectors here are going to be for engine control. 1 connector will generally be for transmission control. It normally doesn't take 2. There's just not enough need for to have more than 1 connector on there. They can fill in, I think it's I want to say about 40 wires. We could always get a connector view out and take a look, but I'm going to locate to see. I did notice on that diagram there, connector 4 was the number that we were looking for, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the diagram and I'll be right back with you. Okay, we are at connector 1 on the computer. I said connector 4 before, an error. Connector 1, where our powers and grounds are. I will introduce the diagrams in a separate way into this video. We are there with the key on right now. This is supposed to be a fused ignition input, and there we are. We're going to move that over to the next one in, which would be, try to do this one-handed for you. There's no real way to prop this bad boy up over here. We disconnect here and we move over one. Now we're in there at pin 12. And our headlight is on. I use a headlight so I can make sure that we're actually getting enough amperage that when this thing is under load, that it can handle what we have here. Okay, so both ignition powers coming in, we know are good. Our other ground is going to be up here at pin 9. Okay, we just verified our powers and grounds there as far as ignition inputs. Now we just have to go out there and go see what the battery power input is, the one that comes in battery power all times. I'm gonna say I'm 99% sure that that one's okay because the vehicle runs, but we'll double check it anyway. Okay, now back probed in there, checking for our all-the-time battery power. Looking good.